Audits. We hear that word all the time, right? They're supposed to be this fundamental pillar of our financial world, a cornerstone of how companies are run. The ultimate symbol of trust and integrity that holds our whole economic system together. But what if that bedrock isn't quite as solid as we've been led to believe? What if the very process we rely on for objective truth is, well, more of a performance? In this explainer, we're going to peel back the layers of the audit and ask a really tough question. Is it a guarantee, or is it just a ritual?
All right, let's dive right in. We've got to start with what most of us think an audit is, the popular myth, the guarantee of truth.
So on paper, the definition is pretty much exactly what you'd hope for. It's systematic, it's independent, it's all documented, and the whole point is to give an objective look at the books so that everyone, from investors to you and me, can have confidence that the numbers are real and the rules are being followed. Sounds good, right? And believe me, this thing is everywhere. It's not just about that one big annual financial report. Nope. There are audits for internal processes, for IT systems, for making sure companies comply with regulations. It's this huge, sprawling system designed to check and double-check pretty much every single part of an organization. So that's the ideal. But here is where our story takes a sharp turn. What if the act of auditing, the process itself, has become more important than the actual results? It's time to challenge that foundation of trust and look at the audit as more of a ritual. Now, this isn't some brand new fringe idea. Professor Michael Power wrote this really influential book where he talked about the rise of the Audit Society. And his whole argument is that we've become so obsessed with auditing that it's turned into this massive societal ritual. So here's the split. On one side, we have what we think an audit is, a scientific, objective check on the facts. But what Power argues it often becomes is something totally different, a symbolic performance. The goal stops being about finding the truth and starts being about creating the feeling of assurance, just to make everyone feel safe. And when you shift from fact-finding to just performing, you get some pretty serious unintended consequences. It creates this box-ticking culture, where the goal isn't to actually get better, it's just to pass the audit. It piles on the bureaucracy and often just completely ignores the people on the ground who actually know what's going on. Okay, this all leads to another massive question. If we're all being judged by these standards, who's actually writing the rules of the game? I mean, really think about that for a second. Where do these rules that have so much power actually come from? Well, the answer, it might not be what you think. A lot of the time, they don't come from some impartial government body. Instead, they're created by these non-state actors, private industry groups, and professional organizations. We're talking about groups of insiders setting the rules for their own industries. And this creates a huge, huge potential risk. It's the classic definition of something called regulatory capture. It's basically the fox guarding the henhouse. The industry that's supposed to be regulated gets to write its own rule book. And the danger, of course, is that the rules end up protecting their own commercial interests, not the public. Now, this isn't just some abstract academic problem. Let's look at what happens when these rituals and these captured standards completely fail in the real world. And I'm not talking about small accounting errors. The consequences are catastrophic. We're talking about failures that wipe out entire companies, destroy people's pensions, and cost thousands of people their jobs. I mean, the last decade is just littered with examples. You had the Steinhoff scandal, the shocking collapse of the construction giant Carillion in the UK, and of course, the massive fraud at Germany's Wirecard. And guess what? In every single one of these cases, the company had been audited and given a passing grade. Let's just pause on Wirecard for a moment to get the sheer scale of this. The auditors gave the company a clean bill of health, while somehow failing to notice that 1.9 billion euros of cash on the balance sheet simply wasn't there. It never existed. And don't for a second think this is just a European problem. No way. We saw it with Luckin Coffee in China, Patisserie Valerie in the UK, the massive 1MDB scandal in Malaysia, NMC Health in the UAE. This is a truly global problem. So the big question is, why? Why does this keep happening over and over again? To really get that, we have to look at the most basic, fundamental flaw of auditing itself. It all circles back to this concept of an audit culture. This societal obsession we have with measuring, standardizing, and checking everything off a list as our main way of holding people accountable. But here it is. Here's the inescapable truth of it all. An audit is nothing more than a snapshot of the past. It analyzes historical data. Its entire job is to tell you what has already happened. It is, by its very nature, a backward-looking tool. And relying only on a rearview mirror to navigate the road ahead is incredibly dangerous. It gives everyone this false sense of security, which leads to companies getting lazy and complacent. It means you completely fail to see new threats that are emerging in real time. And you overlook the really complex systemic problems that just don't show up on last year's balance sheet. Which leaves us right here with one final critical question. We know an audit shows us a picture of the past. But in the world we live in now, a world defined by complex, fast-moving, and totally unpredictable threats, is just looking backward ever going to be enough?